So what do you do when the gas for your stove runs out? In India, that's a question millions and millions of people are facing right now. And look, this isn't just about a scary gas shortage. It's a real chance to get smarter in the kitchen. Think of it like this. When the power goes out, you're kind of forced to rediscover board games, right? Well, this moment is testing our toughness, our resilience, and it's forcing us to look at a crisis not as a roadblock, but maybe as a detour to a much better solution.
You know, when we hear news about supply chains and restrictions, it's so easy to get lost in the big, abstract picture. But for millions of families, the problem really boils down to this one simple, powerful question. It's not about politics or economics at first. It's about that fundamental need to just care for the people you love.
And this is not a small problem. Just look at this number, 350 million. That is how many households in India depend on cooking gas every single day. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's more than the entire population of the United States. So yeah, when the supply chain gets tricky, it affects a massive, massive number of people, all asking that exact same question.
Okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page, the gas we're talking about here is LPG, or liquefied petroleum gas. It's the fuel that comes in those metal cylinders we all know. You can think of it as a giant portable battery for your stove, powering kitchens all across the country.
Now, as concerning as all this is, it's really important to remember that India has faced major energy challenges before. History has thrown a few tough pop quizzes at the country, you could say. And the most interesting part is what we can learn from them to solve the problems we're facing today.
Back in 1973, an oil shock hit the supply of kerosene, which was the main cooking fuel back then. Then, in 1990, when Iraq invaded Kuwait, India's oil imports just collapsed. Each time, it felt like a total disaster. But each time, India adapted. And, well, that brings us to today's challenge with LPG.
That crisis in 1990 was a huge turning point, so let's zoom in on that for a second. And to make it a little more interesting than just reading from a history book, let's play a quick game of true or false. Ready?
Okay, first question. India's oil imports collapsed after Iraq invaded Kuwait. Is that true or false? What do you think? The answer is true. Absolutely true. It happened almost overnight and created a massive economic problem for the whole country.
All right, next one. To avoid going bankrupt and basically keep the country running, India had to sell 47 tons of candy. True or false? This one is false. It wasn't candy, it was 47 tons of the nation's gold reserves. They had to fly it to the Bank of England as collateral. I mean, talk about a desperate move. Last question for our little quiz. This massive, terrible crisis actually led to major positive changes in India's economy. True or false? Believe it or not, this is true. That 1990 crisis was the wake-up call that forced the government to open up the economy. This meant making it easier for new businesses to start, welcoming foreign companies. It was a huge shift that basically built the modern Indian economy we see today.
So the really crucial point here is resilience. It's that ability to not just get through a tough situation, but to learn from it and come back even stronger. Kind of like a superhero getting knocked down but getting right back up, you know? History shows that these challenges can be the very things that spark powerful change. So what powerful changes can this new challenge inspire?
Okay, so history gives us a little hope, right? It shows that crises can lead to new ways of thinking. So let's talk about some truly innovative solutions for today. And this first one, it's a bit unexpected. What if one of the best ways to deal with a cooking gas shortage was to cook less? What if the secret weapon was actually your own body?
Now, I know this might sound strange, but could your own body actually hold the key? Ayurveda and other ancient traditions have been talking about this for centuries. It's really about understanding how our bodies can function brilliantly without constantly needing cooked food. And this leads to two really fascinating ideas: raw foods and fasting.
Think of your body like a hybrid car. It can run on two different kinds of fuel. The first is glucose, which you get from food. That's like the gasoline for quick bursts of energy, a sprinter. But when you don't eat for a while, your body switches to its backup power. It starts using its stored fat, which is more like a marathon runner. This switch doesn't just have potential health benefits, it has a direct impact on how much we even need to cook.
So this brings us to intermittent fasting. Now, this isn't about starving yourself, not at all. It's simply about eating within a specific window of time each day. Like, say, eating all your meals between noon and 8 p.m. You can think of it like giving your digestive system a scheduled vacation. And from a practical standpoint, the logic is super simple.
Fewer meals means less time cooking, which means less gas used. Simple as that.
Okay, so fasting is a pretty powerful idea, but let's be real, we still need to cook. So let's get into some practical, everyday tips. It's time to become a gas-saving ninja in your own kitchen with 5 super simple hacks.
Here they are. 5 small changes that make a huge difference. First, soak your dals and grains overnight. It softens them up, and this can cut your cooking time and your gas use by up to 50%. Second, that pressure cooker is your best friend. It traps steam to cook food super fast, saving up to 75% of your gas. Third, this one's so simple. Just put a lid on your pot. It saves 30% of the heat from escaping. Fourth, cook smarter by batch cooking. Make one big meal that can cover 3 smaller ones. See? These aren't just tips, they're efficiency upgrades for your kitchen.
Okay, so we've looked at history, we've looked at our own bodies, and we've got some simple kitchen hacks. This all brings us to the final and maybe most important lesson. This crisis is a chance to be smarter, not scared. And that last hack we mentioned, switching your stove, is probably the smartest move of all.
So get ready for a number that might actually shock you. Your gas stove is only about 40% efficient. What does that mean? It means 60% of the heat it produces doesn't even go into your food. It just escapes out into your kitchen. That's like trying to fill a bucket that has a giant hole in the bottom. And this just illustrates the difference perfectly. Look at this comparison. While a gas stove is wasting most of its energy, an electric induction stove is up to 90% efficient. It transfers energy directly into the pan with almost no waste at all. It's a fundamental shift in technology that saves energy and, in the long run, it saves you money.
So the real takeaway here isn't just about how to save a little gas. It's a whole mindset. It's about seeing a crisis not just as a threat, but as an opportunity. An opportunity to innovate, to adapt, and to improve. It forces us to ask better questions and find smarter solutions. Which leads me to one final thought for you. What other everyday challenges can we turn into a chance to get smarter?